Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the month of May, and I do seriously believe this is the month that is a great turning point. Now, the beginning of the month is going to be quite calm, but the second part of May, get ready. This is going to be a very transitional time. Now, before I start, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, because this is an important month to honor and pay homage to mothers and what it's all about, which is basically, when I think in astrology about mothers and mothering and the fourth house, I think about love. And love is the essence that I want to get through to everyone in this particular month. But before I start, I always want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter, especially this month, because this month I'm going to have some extra dates and times that you'll want to read. So if you sign up for my free newsletter, it is delivered to your email address. So go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org, sign up for my free newsletter, and while you're there, check out my beautiful spiritual jewelry. I have all 12 signs of the zodiac, which right here I'm wearing the sign Gemini because that's my rising sign in the sidereal Vedic Astrology zodiac. So also starting in June, we're going to be starting a new semester 1 for the University of Vedic Astrology. Go check it out. It's an amazing online learning experience. So continuing on with how things are looking astrologically for the month of May. And there's so much energy. Well, first of all, we have Jupiter, which has been in Aquarius for about a month. And as it continues to pick up speed and gets well positioned in the sign of Aquarius, you're going to see some major revelations. I've been looking forward at this time of May for quite some time, because transiting Jupiter is going to start making some powerful aspects, especially around the end of May. Like I said, the last 2 weeks are going to be more turbulent than the first 2 weeks of May. And I'll explain why, because there's a lot of astrological energy that's starting to get amped up big time. Well, for one thing, Mars is out of bounds. When Mars reaches a declination that is beyond the right ascension and what we're talking about with latitude in astrology, when Mars becomes out of bounds, people become more angry. And you're going to see a lot of anger and a lot of fighting back. But the biggest thing, if I want you to get out of this month, is that finally, the truth. I've been talking about this. The truth has been bubbling up. It has been. But so many people deny it. They're not going to be able to deny it for much longer, because what's happening is when Jupiter comes to the end of the month and comes to around 7 and 8 degrees of Aquarius, it will be standing still before it turns retrograde in June on the U.S. natal moon for the United States chart that I use. And this means the truth comes out. This is the year 2021. All of the truth is going to be revealed, because no one really knows what to believe anymore. All we do know is we can't believe everything we're being told. That's for certain. And there's so many contrasting, conflicting ideas. Is it a conspiracy theory or is it not? There's going to be so much proof. If you deny it, then you're just denying science and reality, because the truth is about to come out. Another thing that we have going this month that is always major shifts and changes is we have a lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse will be May 26th. And always, I say, when we have eclipses, things surface that we didn't know about out of the dark. That's what eclipse energy is about. The lights, the moon and the sun are darkened, and out of the darkness, the truth bubbles up and is surfaced. This is amazing. Watch and see how the first part of the month will give us a chance to catch our breath, but the second part of the month, hold on, you're going to be gasping because this is amazing. Now, with Jupiter being in the sign of Aquarius, it is giving us our hope back. It's giving us freedom. And as everything progresses from these lockdowns we've had, worldwide lockdowns, every country seems to take a break and then go back and forth. But really, I think everyone, no matter where you are kind of over the coronavirus. This was a nightmare. It took many lives. But at the same time, we can't live in lockdown forever. No, we're ready to move on with life and to quit being consumed with the fears that the media and our governments and our world are trying to place on our minds. People are fed up. People are saying, you know what? I'm ready to live my life. This is not going to control me anymore. I'm going to do what I need to do. And we've all pretty much done what we've needed to do to overcome this virus. But enough is enough. No one is going to stand for another year of lockdowns. We are demanding freedom. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like, whatever happens, happens. But I'm not living in this lockdown mentality, fear-based anymore. This is so freeing, and that's what Jupiter in Aquarius is actually promoting and bringing about for us in this world. But many of the things that have really been in place about this coronavirus, some of the realizations with that are about to be revealed. It's like finally the shield or the blinders are going to lift with this eclipse that happens towards the end of the month. Another interesting thing that's happening is both Jupiter and Saturn are slowing down to turn retrograde. And I do think with both of these two social planets turning retrograde, you are going to find, yes, the economy is shifting. And there are some real interesting things happening this month that actually are very symbolic and similar to the last time that we had Jupiter in Aquarius and Saturn in Capricorn. It was actually in 1962. And during that time, this was actually May 28, 1962, Saturn stationed the same placement that Saturn's going to station again. Now, Saturn is going to station and turn retrograde by May 23rd. And this is where I see the enormous setbacks coming financially for the markets in the world. And so going back, this is very interesting. Historically, it was May 28th of 1962 that Saturn stationed retrograde almost the same exact degree while we had Jupiter in Aquarius. And during that time, there was a flash crash of 1962 where in one single day, it was the biggest drop in the stock market since the Great Depression. So I'm going to say that something quite similar will begin to happen in this month of May, especially after Saturn starts to turn retrograde. This is powerful. Another thing that's happening that's reminiscent of this year is the fact that Saturn and Uranus are in a square together. Now, as Saturn turns retrograde and Uranus speeds up going direct, they're going to form a square. They're almost exact in May and June and continue on. This is a major, major breakdown. Enormous events will start happening. Get ready. The eclipse of this summer will change everything. The solar eclipse is due to happen on June 10th. But the lunar eclipse that happens 2 weeks prior is May 26th. And between the end of May and June 10th, I call this the eclipse season. Get ready, because everything is going to be blowing up. There's going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a lot of violence. And a lot is due to happen on the political scenes. You will see that so much is happening, and this will actually be like a freedom to finally expose all the things that have been hidden for so long. So by May 29th, though, the last, getting close to the very end of May, that's going to be when Jupiter exactly conjoins the United States moon. And that means, because the moon in the US chart is in the third house deals with communications, the media, and the moon, by the fact of the chart that I use, rules the 8th house. There's going to be remarkable scandals, all the corruption, financial corruption, things that have been going on for quite some time, the monopolies of the media that have controlled our world. Things are going to become unraveled. Things have to change. And another thing, all of the people, well, not all of the people, I should say half of the people in the United States, we're split. There's people that believe one way and people that believe another way. It's going to clash because half of the people have been quiet and are angry, and that anger explodes this month. So watch and see what I'm talking about. Now, as I keep saying, the most important thing for us as those that want to grow spiritually have to stay rooted in our spiritual truth. And that's going to come from a place of love and devotion within ourselves. I'm going to give you some tools and techniques for this. But remember that the only thing that does truly heal and will heal this planet is unconditional love. I know you've heard me speak of this a lot, but we have to elevate our consciousness if we want the world to improve and get better and change, and it will. So moving on, I want to talk about some of the major dates. One of the things that I think are going to be lovely about this month is that Venus is going to go into Taurus, where it will stay there between May 4th and May 28th. This is a saving grace, because even though I'm telling you the stock market's going to go through some major shifts, and the economics in the world, major shifts. This year, there will be a depression. This is the year that things are going to change, and you probably kind of figured that by some of the rules and regulations that are being enacted throughout the world. But Venus being in Taurus actually helps the economy. So don't think that this is the month that it completely crashes. It's going to be volatile. It's going to be up, it's going to be down. It's going to be up, it's going to be down. And I think the time that Venus leaves Taurus, that could be the time that we start to really slump in a downward cycle, which is after May 28th, yes. So May 4th through the 28th, Venus is in Taurus, a sign it loves to be in. Towards the end of this month, though, realize that we also have Mercury turning retrograde. So Mercury will turn retrograde around May 30th, and it's going to be in Gemini. Well, 0 degrees of Gemini. So basically, it's going to spend its retrograde process starting in Gemini. Gemini deals all with communications. This has been the thing that has controlled our world. What the media tells us and wants us to believe, and how they have monopolized all the media platforms. Well, there's going to be some new ones coming out, because I'm seeing this is the month of change. They're not going to be a monopoly anymore. Many new venues and ways to get information out are coming. And it's not going to be just the same old Facebook, Twitter, all the same people. YouTube, things are going to change. So here are some important dates that I want to bring out so you can focus in on. Now, this month, Saturn will be is in Capricorn, while Jupiter's in Aquarius, and I'm looking at the time frame around May 10th, when everything is bound to shift incredibly. So around May 10th, there is something happening in the sky that represents that there will be a major crises, and it is, I want to say, destiny related. The whole world is shifting. It can't continue on like this with all these secrets and people wondering. There's an explosive event. It's going to happen around May 10th, but there's a lot more to come towards the second 2 weeks of this month. So what I find is there's something called a yod. Now, maybe some of you have heard of this. This is an astrological term for when you have a configuration of planets that actually do form a Y position. There's 2 planets that do 150 degrees to 1 planet. And the planets involved here, or the points, are radical, because this yod involves Mars, K2, Saturn, and Mercury. And this is going to be where things really, the destiny and the turning point of the world, of everything that's been boiling up, will come out. So going back to the last solar eclipse, remember solar eclipses happen every 6 months. The last one was December 14th. And I said there's going to be some type of war. What happened? There was a protest that exploded in a warlike, from what they show us on TV, right? Something about the protest on the White House. And it was a big event. They call it an insurrection. Another event will happen close to this next eclipse that happens June 10th. So this solar eclipse that happens on the 26th, this lunar eclipse, on the 26th of May is the lunar eclipse. On the 10th of June is the solar eclipse. So a lunar eclipse is a full moon when it's tied up with Rahu and Ketu. Now that full moon is in the sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio is a very intense, passionate sign. And this eclipse will bring emotion to the forefront. with everyone, feeling emotion. And like I said, this will be a year of war. Things are going to start falling out and happening. It's been very quiet for a long, long time. May 11th is the new moon. And this new moon is very, very important, because what you're going to find that on this new moon, let me see here, on May 11th, we have the new moon is still in Aries, 27 degrees of Aries. And Aries represents things happening quickly. Now, the nakshatra that this new moon is in is called Kritika. And Kritika deals with protection, but it's a very sharp and cutting nakshatra. Its symbol is a knife, scissors, and this is what we're talking about. Things are going to start cutting through from this vantage point of the yod, which means the finger of God, by the way, a yod aspect with the quincunxes and sextiles of a yod that creates the Y formation in a chart. That means there's something destiny related that will change everything. Then we have the new moon the day after, which means some new beginning and new direction that things are going to take. But it's cutting. It's getting to the core. It's getting to the bottom of things. It's very, very emotional. And yes, Mars and Ketu in aspect, they're actually very warlike. So we have a lot to be concerned about, and a lot that we have to think about to stay focused. Now, by May 15th, Mars in Gemini will be aspecting Saturn, both at 19. Mars will be 19 degrees of Gemini, where Saturn will be 19 degrees of Capricorn. This quincunx is extremely aggressive. And I'm telling you, there's a breakdown, and especially since Saturn and Uranus are forming a square, this is the year of major, major breakups and breakdowns. By May 10th to the 15th, be very careful. So much is going to explode. By the 17th, Rahu will hit Mercury. It's not a great time for travels. And even though I do feel like traveling is going to begin to open up in the world because people are ready for travel again, they will. But there's so much discord going on in governments around the world. And here's what I'm seeing when I look on the political front. Yes, from looking at where all these planets are transiting, they do empower Kamala Harris's chart very strongly. She's rising in power. But let me just say that when K2 gets close to the moon, which is 7-8 degrees in the United States chart, that is actually where President Biden's K2 sits at that degree. And that can have some very difficult repercussions for his health. So he must stay strong to be able to lead. But at the same time, conversely, as Jupiter moves up to 5 degrees of Aquarius, it brings back something to do with Donald Trump, because that's his ascendant. So all these names and all these powers, past, present, and future, are all shifting. And let me say this is going to affect the world. So all the countries are going to have to align with what's happening, because this is major, major crises time. So I'm looking at between the lunar eclipse to the solar eclipse, where there will be scandals and truth that comes out like never before. And I want to say by the end of this year, we will be in an entirely different place in the world, not just the United States, in the world. This world will look very different, and that is a harsh reality that I must tell everyone, because when we realize what's been going on, people are not going to be happy. They will be angry. So let's bring this full circle back to my message. It is May. It is Mother's Day on May 9th. And I want you to know just how important, especially in astrology, the mother is. Because when we look at a chart, we look at the moon and we look at the fourth house in terms of the mother. And when I think about the fourth house in astrology, I know that this is actually the house of mother, family, and security. And therefore, it is the house of happiness. Why is that? Because love and security go hand in hand. If you don't have one, you don't have the other. And in order to have a happy life, you have to have love and security. And with love, eliminating all this fear that's going on rampant in the world, that's where our heart opens. And that's where we can heal the planet, heal our lives. Because let me just say, those individuals that had a dysfunctional relationship with their mother in their home, that feel like they were never loved, these individuals, it is the hardest thing to heal, because throughout their life, they feel unworthy of love. And therefore, they seek love in all the wrong places generally. So they seek love, but always finding dysfunctional relationships. Why? Because deep down subconsciously, they feel they don't deserve love because they never received it as children. And therefore, they seek individuals that reflect mirror image of what they feel subconsciously, which is that they don't deserve love. So they attract relationships that do not give the love that they so desperately need, want, and seek. So they have an array of dysfunctional relationships and addictions because they're trying to fill the emptiness that the hole in the heart will give with the lack of love. So how do we heal this if this is the case? One thing is, you have to come to know that you deserve and are loved. And that goes to self-love. We all have to find this place where we aren't projecting our angers out there, because guess what happens? It comes back at us. Everything that's within us out there is a mirror image of what's going on. So if we don't like what's going on out there, change yourself and be conscious, be aware that love, coming from opening the heart, doing a meditation every day, visualizing your heart opening and receiving and giving love. That is the most powerful meditation on the planet right now, because when we do this, we can avert some of these crazy things that are boiling up and about to explode. There will be violence, there will be anger between these eclipse period, this eclipse season, but you do not have to participate in that. You, from a higher mindedness and open-heartedness, can change your world and have a beautiful effect on the world. So take this month and look at it as the month of love, because it deals with Mother's Day. Mothers are the essence the person who gives us love and protection and security. And that is what we all seek, because when we have that, we have a world of peace, harmony, and happiness. Remember, the moon in a chart and the 4th house deals with our mind, our emotions, our mother. And that I want everyone to look at from a deep, deep core essence of realizing that it comes full circle. I often call the 4th house the Alpha and the Omega, because it actually deals with our heritage, our ancestry, and the end of life. And all of that, the 4th house rules the heart. And all of that resides in your heart, the one and all, who you are, truly are, which is part of the divine. You are part of the divine. All of us are. We make up the whole of humanity. And when you change and open to love, recognizing, feeling it, and giving and receiving love, the world will change. That's when we'll all wake up. So that's what I want the message to be about for this month of May, because, well, some of the people out there I know are probably saying, bring it on. I'm ready for change. We can't live locked up in fear anymore. So let's bring out and feel free and know the truth. The truth of who you really are will be revealed this month. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And remember, if you want to study Vedic astrology with me, check out my university website, which is universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.